No programa de hoje, Terence McKinney fala sobre a experiência de quase morte que mudou sua vida para sempre. A maior jovem promessa da Irlanda compartilha sua jornada ao UFC antes de sua estreia tão aguardada. O campeão peso meio médio Kamaru Usman analisa sua performance que lhe rendeu o cinturão contra Tyron Woodley. Colby Covington detalha seu código de guerreiro. Terence McKinney chegou com tudo no UFC com um nocaute aos 7 segundos em sua luta de estreia no UFC 263. A notável jornada do lutador de 27 anos ao octógono começou em uma noite chocante. Terence tinha uma carreira promissora como atleta pela frente, até que um incidente causado por drogas quase deu fim à sua vida. Terence revela o que aconteceu naquela noite e o impacto que teve em Foco de Lutador.
Well, all eyes are indeed on Terence McKinney here tonight. He's got that UFC contract now.
There was a time in college when he was making bad choices. He could have ended up dead or in jail.
What a road it has been here to the octagon for Terence.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Fight!
Growing up, all I could think and breathe was wrestling. I stopped thinking about girls. I stopped thinking about going to my homie's house, hanging out with friends. I became obsessed with the sport.
He would study film, he would go to camps, he would just go 110%. It got to the point where kids had a hard time wrestling him at practice because he was so driven.
By his senior year, Terence was top 10 recruit in the United States as a high school wrestler going to college. His dream was to become an Olympic wrestler. Here he is at the top of his career, in one moment, loses it all.
I think college was a little bit too fun for me. I got into partying really bad. 3 to 4 different drugs, like every weekend at every party. I had a huge opportunity. School hit me up and they offered me a full ride for Division II. And I was like, man, this is sweet. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna do drugs one more time before I head out for school. Then it ended up being one of the worst nights of my life.
When we arrived on scene, Terence was in a backyard, sweating profusely, bleeding from the head.
Hey, Terence, Spokane Police. Can you tell me what kind of drugs you took today?
Officers knew it could be a excited delirium situation.
I had taken a value of acid and like overnight the shrooms, end up seeing demons. I was acting crazy, punched a few windows out of cars.
They tried talking to him, trying to defuse and de-escalate the situation.
I'm powerful, bro. We know. Years. You went through a glass window, so we need to get you some medical attention.
When the officers moved in to take him into custody, that's really when the fight was on. Officers ended up using a taser. They were able to move in and with brute force get him into handcuffs and get the medics in to see him as soon as possible.
You're fine. We're putting you on a gurney.
Terence's heart stopped 2 to 3 times, and he died while on the way to the hospital.
That changed the game for me forever.
When you think about losing your kid, for me as a mom, it's like, what did I do wrong? What did I mess up? I did my best. I did my best. Terence, he was our hero. He was the one that was gonna save our family. He was gonna do that, be an Olympic wrestler. He was gonna help pay off our house so we wouldn't have to struggle anymore. And here he is, he's not only almost died, but he's about to get a charge and he could have been in prison for a long time. I didn't know what to expect.
I wasn't gonna let this event define who I was. I made a devotion to myself that I was gonna have a complete 360, and that's where I chose fighting.
I remember looking at him, I said, Terrence, if this is really what you want to do, you have to go at it with all you've got. And I'll back you. And he was like, I'm going to be a UFC champion. And I said, show me.
I knew when he walked in the door, it was more for a change, not just because he wants to fight. He says, look, Pablo, I'm here to humble myself and listen to the coach. And I was like, okay. I was blown away with his power, his speed, his athleticism.
Pablo, he made me believe I can actually be a mixed martial artist.
Terrence T-Rex McKinney!
As soon as I start listening to this guy, I start racking off knockouts left and right.
McKinney over and out!
McKinney goes up top, and now he's looking to end this fight. It's over! Are you kidding me? Another first-round finish!
Terrence T-Rex McKinney!
And now we've made lightweight history in the UFC.
About 10 days ago, Terrence McKinney was on the outside of the UFC looking in. A lot of people think that he is ready for this opportunity.
We really thought this was going to be a tough fight, like 2-round to 3-round type fight.
Matt Frivola, the toughness, Joe, next level for this guy.
Next level toughness and next level cardio as well. Fights at a tremendous volume.
For those at home, buckle up for this one right now.
Take your time.
Oh my goodness!
Early left hand from McKinney!
Wow!
Before this dude can even switch his feet to throw a kick, we hit him down the pipe with the 1-2, and that's all she wrote.
Terrence McKinney maximizing the debut!
7-second knockout. That's gonna go down in history.
Tied for the 4th fastest finish in UFC history. Terrence McKinney brought to tears right in front of us.
We're so proud of Terrence, what he's learned from his mistakes. He went from the very, very top all the way down to the bottom, and he had to pick himself back up, and only Terrence could do that. Terrence had to grow up and learn that lesson for himself.
Terrence T-Rex McKinney!
I know what it felt like to be top dog, to have it all, and I know what it feels like to lose it all. And if I can just share one sentence with you that can increase your chance of becoming the champion, then that's what I want to be here to do, you know?
I just want everyone that's going through struggles to never give up.
Terrence is the epitome of a person who's made mistakes. And he's willing to go and say, I'm sorry. He's willing to admit when he's made a mistake, and he's willing to make amends. And that's the type of man that I am proud that he has become.
Repleto de confiança e grandes habilidades, a promessa irlandesa Ian Garry já tem sido comparada a seu compatriota Conor McGregor. Após assinar um contrato com o UFC, o antigo campeão do Cage of Warrior se mudou para os Estados Unidos para ingressar na equipe Sanford MMA e se preparar para sua estreia no UFC 268. Fomos até a Flórida para saber mais e apresentar aos fãs do UFC o The Future Ian Garry.
This is a letter that my mom wrote to me when I decided to quit college and pursue my dream of being a professional MMA fighter. Ian, taking a year out to figure out what you're going to do is stupid. I will not support someone who gives up on themselves and takes the easy way out. Being the next Conor McGregor is not planned. I had my first amateur fight 3 years and 8 months ago. I'm in the UFC now. My name is Ian Garry. I'm from Dublin, Ireland. I'm 23 years of age. I'm making my UFC debut on November 6th at Madison Square Garden, and I'm going to show everybody what the future really is. Life as a kid in Dublin was great. I was filled with a lot of love as a child. My dad was sick a lot as a kid, but my mom done everything she could to make sure we were at training, make sure we were at school. I started sports when I was about 4. So I started playing Irish traditional sports, which are Gaelic and hurling. When I was 10, I went and joined the boxing gym, and I was just hooked. I loved the idea of punching someone and not getting hit. The start of my love for mixed martial arts was boxing when I was a child. And I remember going to events in the 3 Arena in Dublin, and I watched Bernard Dunne win a world title. I remember going, one day I'm gonna do something like that. I know, back then I would have never imagined it would have been MMA, it would always have been boxing. But then, this fella, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but Conor McGregor, he came up in this thing called UFC, and it just blew up. I said it to my mom, I want to join MMA. She said, not a chance. She said, I know what'll happen if you join an MMA gym. You'll do absolutely nothing. I decided when I started college, I would look into joining a gym. I quit college. I rang my uncle, I asked him for a job. I worked cleaning windows full time. Working so early gave me the opportunity to then, at night time, just focus on training. I really enjoyed window cleaning. Other than the fact that there was days where I absolutely cried from the cold, there was a lot of learning, a lot of maturity in that time. There's so much respect and appreciation for my uncle, because without him and his company's support, I wouldn't have been able to necessarily pursue what I'm doing now. He enabled me to continue my dream while still making money. My coach at the time called me and said, hey, what weight are you? I said, why? He said, because we've got a short notice fight. I need you to be honest with me. Can you make weight? I said, yeah. He said, all right. I hung up the phone, made the call, called me back and said, you're making your pro debut next week in Liverpool for Cage Warriors. And I was like, unbelievable. I was fighting a guy who went pro before I had had my first amateur fight. And I went in and I lit his ass up.
Oh, getting the hands to work early. Drops his man with a beautiful straight right.
It got fight of the night. I got a contract with Cage Warriors after that because I put on such a good show. And that was the start of a chapter where it's like, right, I know how this chapter goes. Because when I get that belt wrapped around my waist, I'm the best guy in Europe at that weight class.
Oh, big shot from Ian Garry. Ian Garry with a big squeeze. Surely here. Oh, another big head kick. And it's over. And he's got him out. Elbows from Ian Garry. A statement made by the future. Oh, it's a huge kick. And it's over.
Beautiful finish.
Unbelievable. He's got the star quality. He's got the personality.
He's called the future. He's definitely got a bright future.
During my undefeated run in Cage Warriors, there was a lot of adversity leading up to my world title fight. I tore my PCL. I was out for 5 weeks. Sat at home crying, worried, stressed about, will I be able to fight? I knew that if I could just walk, I could beat Jack Grant. I could win the world title fight. I knew I could win. I got to a point where I was able to get back into training, and then 10 days out from my world title fight, my team up and abandoned me. They decided that they didn't want to be a part of my journey anymore, that they were done. I didn't really care. I had gone through so much in that camp in regards to mentally from my knee that it didn't bother me. I've got my goal. I've got a world title fight to worry about in 10 days. I had no one named in my corner. I wanted to walk out my own. The fight nearly got pulled because the president of the organization was like, you cannot fight without somebody in your corner. So I went, right, I'll ask my mate, will you do it? He said, yeah. I told him about the game plan. I told him what I was going to do. I told him how I was going to win. And I went in and did exactly that.
Here's the head
So
kick.
far from this young man. The future is his nickname, but the future may very well be in his hands. Nice ground and pound from Ian Garry.
You know, sometimes, oh, that was a good calf kick. Nice.
I won every single strike in exchange. I dominated the fight from round 1 to the end of round 5, and I put on a show. I walked out my own to a world title fight. No team behind me. I think it was the most enjoyable fight I've had to date. Even with all the struggles, even with all the adversity I had to overcome, the pain in the fight, nothing is going to stop me from winning. And I became a world champion.
Ian Garry!
Within 24 hours of winning that Cage Warriors world title, he had been signed to the UFC, and he didn't have anywhere to train. And so we kind of wrote a list of where are the best places, what would be the dream scenario. And I remember actually trying to sort of pad his hopes down a bit and go, write a top 5, but top of the list was Sanford MMA.
Ian came to my gym really by text messages. I don't even know at which gym he trained before. For me, it was just a fighter from Europe wanted to train here for his debut. When I saw him fighting Cage Warrior, I already thought he was something special. And I'm a striker, so I like the striking part. And I think when he works here on his wrestling and on his grappling, and Greg Jones put the work in with him, I think he will be a very dangerous fighter.
The style of wrestling that we do here at Sanford MMA is obviously very foreign to him, and he is welcome to that. Every time I step in the gym, he seeks me out, different ways to learn, different ways to grow, different ways to get better.
Being surrounded by talent with the likes of Gilbert Burns, Michael Chandler, Derek Brunson, Henry Hooft, Greg Jones, all these amazing coaches and training partners, they are elite at what they do. I'm the type of person who strives off being surrounded by the best. I'm blessed to be at Sanford.
Ian's darn talented. There's no denying the fact that he has championship level potential if he really puts himself head first into the sport.
He's a great teammate. He likes to work hard, fit very good in the team. Ian has a bright future. Very young, on a great team. At that young age, if his mind is in the right place, keep motivated, training, I think he's gonna do great.
Conor became the double champ at Madison Square Garden, and the fact that I get to make my debut in the same place is massive for me. It's just a small glimpse of the talent that has stepped foot into that arena. Like, I'm 23 years of age, making my UFC debut at Madison Square Garden. It's not often you hear that.
His future is limitless. He is a man who absolutely believes in himself to such an inspiring and powerful degree that there's no doubt that it will be exactly how he wants it to be.
This is what I want to do, and I don't do this for anybody else other than me. But the fact that I can bring so much joy to my country is massive for me. And I've said it from day one, I want to be the UFC champ. I want to be one of the best fighters to ever live. I'm telling you now, I'm going to be a world champion.
Após uma sequência incrível de 13 vitórias, que o levou a ser coroado o vencedor da 21ª temporada do TUF e derrotando lendas como Demian Maia e Rafael dos Anjos, Kamaru Usman conquistou sua primeira oportunidade de disputar o cinturão do UFC em 2019, contra o então campeão Tyron Woodley, no UFC 235. Considerado grande azarão, o Nigerian Nightmare dominou Woodley e entrou para a história como o primeiro campeão do UFC nascido na África. Usman relembra aquela noite especial em Las Vegas, em Meu Momento.
My win streak before the title shot with Woodley was around 13-fight win streak.
He just believes that he's already a champion, so he walks like one, he talks like one, he thinks like one.
The Nigerian Nightmare starting to put it all together.
He wants somebody in the top of the division, and I think he's earned that spot.
What's that list? Get ready, I'm a prop.
For a long time, I couldn't get these guys to fight me, and all these guys knew that I was the worst guy in the division to fight if you ever wanted a chance at that title. So I had to fight him and had to prove to everybody that, hey, I deserve this shot.
Usman's in control of this fight the entire time. You want a top 5 fighter, and he handled him.
I'm coming for that gold strap.
Eventually, there was no more. They couldn't duck me anymore.
This night will belong to the Nigerian Nightmare, Kamaru Usman.
You know, tonight I hope I showed that I'm next in line for that welterweight strap.
You know, one thing that my mom always says is God time is the best, and that was the best time for me.
Live inside the T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas, Nevada, USA. This is UFC 235. Co-headliner tonight will be for the UFC welterweight title, and since July of 2016, the path to welterweight golden glory has gone through the 314. Tyron Woodley looking for a 5th successful defense tonight.
I think very highly of Tyron Woodley. I respected him a lot as a champion, but I knew the sacrifice. I knew all the work that I put in over the years, so I respected him, but I knew that I was the man to dethrone him. And getting closer and closer to that fight, there was nothing going to stop me from proving that I am the best welterweight in the world. So I just gained more and more confidence. So when it was time to rock, I was ready.
Let him feel it. Everything. Let him feel it. Yeah. Let's go, baby. And new.
I had this sense that it was gonna be a life-changing night, but at the same time, I was prepared for anything to happen.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
When I start walking and you're anxious, of course, you're pumped. You can't wait to get your hand on this guy. But you have to be able to control all that because you can get an adrenaline dump in there. So when that song hits and I'm walking, I'm grooving and I'm feeling it. And when I'm grooving like that, I'm not worried about all those emotions that I'm feeling. And the only thing really I remember is crawling up to the cage, saying my prayer, and then I turn into the Nigerian Nightmare when I walk in there. All I knew is I was feeling it, I was in my zone. I wasn't going to stop, or I wasn't gonna shy away or take my foot off the gas until I hear that fighter bell.
Good right hand by Usman.
I felt great. I was surprised. I was like, man, I must be a bad mother, you know, if it's going this well.
Usman continues to press forward, appeared to land there partially.
Really working that right hand to the body very well.
In round 2 in the fight, I'm still feeling him out, seeing how he's responding to the things that I'm throwing at him, that I'm giving him. And he wasn't really responding the way that I expected him to respond. So I feel like he kind of underestimated my skill set. So he knew that this kid is coming in here to take my title tonight.
Oh, he hit Tyron with a big elbow. That was a big shot.
Even though I knew the fight was going my way, Woodley is still dangerous. He has a cannon in his right hand, and so I had to take away those opportunities.
Nice transition.
Wow!
Usman's just out wrestling Woodley right now. From beginning to end of this match so far, he's been out wrestling him.
By the 4th round, he was almost defeated, but I knew he still had a little bit left. And so I had to still be cautious, stay in the zone. And then halfway through that 4th round, I knew that at that point that he was done.
Big uppercut.
That goes. He's hurt. Out 2 more.
He's hurt. Woodley's hurt, guys.
Woodley's in trouble here. Big uppercuts. The end could be coming.
He's hurt.
Huge punches.
Kamaru's trying to finish the show.
Woodley's trying to get his respect back, but he can't.
Big knee from Woodley.
Woodley's hurt bad, though.
More shots by Usman.
Woodley looks out on his feet to me.
4-0 Usman.
Look at him.
Heading into the final rounds, I look across, and he knows it's the 5th and final round. You've just been beaten for the last 4 rounds. I knew as a competitor, if I was in that situation, I'm going for broke. So I knew he was gonna come guns blazing. So I had to keep my foot on the gas.
Trying to dump Woodley here, it does.
Big takedown for Kamaru Usman. That's it. We got a new champ, folks. What a performance. I mean, we knew that he was a talent, and it turns out he is the best in the world.
After that buzzer went off, I knew that I had accomplished something special. And so I put in so much effort and become the world champion, first ever African champion. I did it. I accomplished this.
Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare.
My daughter is somebody that can really make me emotional. Being able to tell her that we accomplished it, this is what we set out to do, and we got it done, was special for me.
What a moment between father and daughter. Wow.
I'm here with the winner and new champion, Kamaru Usman.
I never dreamed that I would have a platform like this to be on this stage one day. And when this little girl came along, she lit a fire under me, Joe. And here I am, baby. Here I am. Daddy did it. When you grow up, I want you to remember this day forever, okay, baby? Daddy did it.
I've said for a long time that I was the best in the world. I just needed the opportunity to prove it. Just having him confirm it to the world, to all the fans, everybody watching, it was very special to me. I am Kamaru Usman, UFC welterweight champion of the world, and That was my moment.
Fora do octógono, Colby Chaos Covington é um dos personagens mais polêmicos do UFC. Mas, quando se trata de luta, a sua dedicação e talento não podem ser contestados. Por ser um wrestler desde muito jovem, Colby aprendeu o que é preciso para ser bem-sucedido. E essa experiência o ajudou a se tornar um dos melhores lutadores de MMA do mundo. Colby compartilha suas ideias sobre a luta em Código de Guerreiro.
My warrior code would just be to always believe in yourself through no matter what time you're going through, if it's a hard time or not, you know, it's to never give up and keep working for what you believe in and what you dream of and never stop believing in your dreams. I also believe that you can create your own destiny.
It's our time, baby. Ain't nobody stopping us.
I've had to sacrifice a lot to get to the top, you know, friends, family, and just, you know, a daily life, having a normal life of being able to go do certain things. You know, I've had to live a certain lifestyle and be committed to the grind 24/7. Because, you know, the fans judge you on what happens on the night of the fight. So they don't see the behind the scenes and the lead up and everything that it takes and all the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into performing. It doesn't matter if I'm fighting in front of 5 people or 50,000 people. You know, you have to get yourself mentally ready to go for a fight, and you got to take them all serious.
Colby is taking some big, deep breaths, recognizing the enormity of the moment.
I feel like we all get a little nervous, we get a little butterflies inside, but, you know, it's just another day of work, and it's what I love to do, so if anything, I get happy inside. I like looking deep in their eyes across the octagon and seeing into their soul and letting them know that they're gonna have to go through hell to beat me. Most of the time I can see the guys are scared, you know, they know I'm the best in the world and, you know, I know they're afraid to be there and lose in front of the whole world because, you know, I'm the biggest villain in the game.
Furious pace and pressure from Covington.
Stay off the tracks when the train's coming through, Junior.
I act on a lot of instincts, but I also like to push a high pace and, you know, be relentless. That was my motto in college, relentless pressure, and that's what I bring to the table when I fight in the UFC octagon.
He is absolutely relentless with this attack.
You know, that's what makes the best, the guys that can center those emotions and really just focus it into the fight. It's a good thing for people to say that you have heart, you know. I know how big my heart is, you know. I've tested it time and time again my whole entire life through wrestling and through fighting. So I think heart is something that you're born with. I don't think that it's an acquired skill. I think it's something that is just in your genes and genetics, and you either have it or you don't. It's tough to put into words what it's like getting your hand raised.
Right. Covington gets the finish.
It's just the best feeling that you've ever felt. All the hard work paying off and one step closer to your dreams. Winning is an addictive feeling, you know. Some people are addicted to drugs, some people are addicted to sex. You know, some people are addicted to cheating on their taxes, but I'm addicted to winning.
He has a history of victory against some of the best fighters in the world.
Colby Chaos Covington.
E chegamos ao fim desse episódio. Entre em contato com a gente e compartilhe sua opinião online usando a hashtag Conexão UFC. Até a próxima!